How about a quick summary from you of what we did in the last class? Are you there, Atif? Am I audible to you?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Yes, sir. 1 minute.
Yep.
Okay, sir. So in the last class, we learned about antibodies. We learned that antibodies are multimeric proteins that are secreted by the B lymphocytes. They have 2 heavy chains and 2 light chains.
Yes.
And each antigen has disulfide linkage, and they have, depending on the antigen, they have binding sites.
Yeah, it's not each antigen, each chain, heavy chain and light chain, they are all linked together by disulfide linkages, okay? Not the antigen.
Yeah, okay, sir.
Yep.
Yeah, and then there are 5 types of human antibodies. That is, sorry, 4 types of human antibodies. That is IgG, IgA, IgM, and IgE. IgA can transfer from the IgA can transfer from the mother to the baby through placenta in a pregnant woman, and then
Yep.
IgE is responsible for allergies. Then IgM is a pentameric antibody, which is also known as immunoglobulin.
Yeah,
Immunoglobulin.
all IGs are known as immunoglobulins. I for immuno, G for globulin. Okay. The word
Okay.
Ig comes from immunoglobulin. Now there are 4 types: immunoglobulin M, E, G, and A. And I told you can remember it as mega. Okay.
Yes, sir. Then we
Yep.
learned that
Continue.
the immunity through the antibodies in the blood is also known as humoral immunity, which is we learned this as the first type of adaptive immunity.
Correct. And
then we learned about the
I told you about the T lymphocytes, right? And I dictated you certain things about it.
yes, we learned about the T lymphocytes, which are required for cell-mediated immunity. We also went into like a detailed topic on what is cell-mediated immunity. Like we talked about the organ transplants and such, like why the body does not accept even if like doing organ transplants, like for example, let's say a heart transplant, if you're transplanting the heart, like the body still attacks, like the body does not like understand. Yeah, we learned that the body does not like understand. You can only differentiate between self and non-self.
Right.
Yes.
So where does that immunity comes from? That's called cell mediated, and it's driven by the T lymphocytes, right?
Yes.
Yep. Okay. And today we have to start from active and passive immunity. So let's begin. Did I have I dictated anything about active and passive immunity?
Yes, sir, you an introduction.
Yeah. What did we study about it?
So like we like study the basics, like active immunity is something that is like produced by the body, for example, antibodies and such, and passive immunity is something that's like brought from outside the body, for example, a pregnant mother providing antibodies to her baby.
Yeah. So immunity basically in both antibodies play a role. Now, as Atif very correctly said, active, by the word active, the active immunity means that this immunity is generated. Write down. This immunity is generated inside the host body. Okay, which means antibodies are synthesized within the organism firsthand. And passive immunity means that antibodies are not generated within the body, but are preformed and transferred into the host body. Make sense? Okay. Now, as you know, inactive immunity, the body needs to make antibodies. Now, this process is not very fast, right? So, for example, how are we uh, helping with active immunity in terms of COVID? You all know about vaccinations. So the other thing is vaccination and immunization. So you all have taken vaccines, right? We discussed it in the last class, remember? So vaccines provide active immunity or passive immunity? What do you think?
Passive immunity.
Passive? How is it passive immunity? What are we transferring into the body through vaccines? I think we discussed this in the last class or not?
Yes, sir, we discussed.
Right. So what is there in the vaccine, in the COVID vaccine, let's say?
Dead COVID viruses.
Not exactly. That is one way to make vaccines, right? But in case of COVID, we are not injecting dead COVID viruses in the body. We are just injecting RNA. These are RNA vaccines which actually code for the spike protein of the COVID virus. So these RNAs will go in our body. They are contained with a vector where the translation will happen, and the protein of the virus will be formed in our own body. Because it's a foreign particle, our immune system will get elicited and start showing a response, which will be the primary response. So in generating active immunity, we have to go through primary response generation, which is a slow process. Okay, so active immunity is slow and takes time to be fully responsive. That's why the moment you take vaccine, you are not safe from the virus from the next day or from 2 days onwards. You need time, for antibodies to be formed in your body. And even if you have taken a vaccine shot, always they say that keep the precautions. It's not like vaccines are going to save you from infections. Yes, they are going to help your body in case of a real infection happens. They are going to help your body fight, but they're not going to protect you or prevent any infection at all. Okay, so that's where the antibodies are being formed in our own body. We do not give antibodies. So Atif gave two answers and both of them are contrasting to each other. So you said that through vaccines we are giving passive immunity, but passive immunity means that you transfer the antibodies into the host body. But then you also know that it's not the antibodies that we are giving through the COVID vaccine, we are giving dead COVID viruses. So don't you think that it cannot be passive immunity then? Even if we are giving dead COVID viruses, let's say, like in the case of polio, the vaccines were generated like that. So dead attenuated polio viruses were given through oral drops to kids. And then kids above the age of kids below the age of 5 years, everyone should get these vaccines multiple times. They will generate antibodies themselves. So what do you think? Even if we give dead virus, we are actually helping the body with active immunity, right? Isn't it, Atif? Am I audible, Atif? I think Atif cannot hear us. Okay, I think there's some network issue or something. So others understood? Fatima, Hannah, Eba?
Yes.
Yeah. So this is how we provide active immunity through vaccination. So write down active immunity is slow process. So it is a slow process and takes time to be fully effective. Okay. And in this
Sir, and takes time
to be fully effective. Okay. Whereas in passive immunity, you can write ready-made antibodies are transferred or directly given to the host. Ready-made antibodies are directly given to the host. Okay. Now, if we come to examples, we know that, yes, Anna.
Now, what if the antibodies they were already modified to attack the organism? They know where to attack, and if that is influenced in our body, it would also know where to attack the pathogen.
Sorry, come again. I could not understand. What if the antibodies?
Now the vaccines, what if they are modified to like the organisms which are already modified in the vaccines to attack the pathogens inside our body?
Yeah, so vaccine contains the pathogens in either a part of it or the whole pathogen in a dead form. Vaccines do not contain something else which kills the pathogen. Those something else that kill the pathogen or that attack the pathogen are antibodies, which are already inside our own body. They have to be formed.
Yeah.
So, okay, vaccination, that's the next thing that I'm going to teach you. So in active immunity, the example is, let's say, vaccination. So by vaccination, what we do, we generate active immunity in the body, right down. Through vaccination, through vaccination, a preparation of antigenic protein, or the whole inactivated pathogen, is introduced into the body. So either you inject some part of the pathogen, for example, any part of that antigen, right? In case of COVID, we use spike protein, the RNA for the spike protein, or some COVID specific genes that produce COVID specific protein. So we use that. Or in case of polio vaccine, we use the whole polio virus inactivated and heat killed. So by which what we are doing is we are giving the body a dead pathogen. So that pathogen will not do anything to the body, but the body will get all the time, our immune system will get the time to generate a response against it, to look at it and treat it as a pathogen, figure out how to kill it, what to do, what antibodies to make, etc., etc. So that the body will do, and it will take its own sweet time in doing that. and generate a response, make antibodies. Okay, so if and because antibodies are being formed in our own system, we call it active immunity. Is it clear? Okay, so these antibodies that are formed during vaccination, okay, antibodies that are formed can neutralize or kill the pathogen during actual infection. So it's like a false exposure, a false encounter, which we are making the immune system to do or to go with the pathogen. Okay, so we are just training the immune system. That's vaccination. Is it clear, everyone? So vaccination is also called active immunization because it provides active immunity. Is it clear? Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
The second thing is passive immunization. What do you think is a passive immunization? It is basically the passive immunity. Okay, so this in passive immunization, so vaccines, for example, you can write the examples. So we have vaccines against polio, COVID-19. Anything else? Vaccines against? Hepatitis B. Okay, these all comes under vaccination. Passive immunization is where you give ready-made antibodies into the system, and this is done in case of events like snake bites, where the venom or the toxin actually is killing the body instantly. So we don't have enough time to give to make active immunity develop in the body. So we just give the preformed antibodies. Now for this, we have to know what is the antigen, what is the toxin. You understand, everyone? So for many snakes, there is an anti-venom prepared already, and it is kept with the hospitals for emergency purposes. So write down. Passive immunization is done in the cases of snake bites. This is one example. Snake bites, which contains preformed antibodies. Preformed antibodies against the snake venom. Against the snake venom. But this is a situation where we have to make the patient survive. Okay, is that clear, everyone? Anyone has any doubts?
No, sir.
No doubt.
No, sir.
Okay, very good. Now, another thing that's associated with our immune system.
Sir, could you show the previous slide, sir? The snake bite.
Yes.
Okay, sir. Done.
Done?
Yeah, I just took a screenshot. It's fine.
Yeah, it just says that it contains preformed antibodies against the snake venom. So you know that there are different types of snakes and there are different types of snake venoms, correct? Do you know what types of snake venoms are commonly present?
Yes, sir.
Neurotoxic. Neurotoxic means
Ah,
if a
that's
snake venom is neurotoxic, what will happen after the snake bite?
I think it gets paralyzed.
Yes, your neurons will stop working and you will not be able to control your body functions. The brain starts, the nervous system starts dying. And if it is cytotoxic,
I think it's blood. It affects the blood.
now that's hemotoxic.
Um,
Okay,
that's
cytotoxic is
okay. Yes,
hemotoxic is where the blood starts coagulating inside the body and the person dies because of clogging of the blood in the heart, etc. And cytotoxic it wherever the snake bites, the cells start dying in that region. Necrosis starts happening and the cells and the tissues starts dying. And you see that it gets blackish and it starts to rot, right? So we have different anti venoms against different kind of snake bites. So it's always said that if you know which snake bit you, the chances of surviving is becomes more, because then you just know which was the snake, and then doctors will know that snake, do we have anti-venom for that snake or not, and what kind of venom that snake produces. So normally for all the snakes that normally bite people, we have anti-venom against them. Okay, clear everyone? Clear? Any doubts?
yes.
No, sir.
Okay. So another thing associated with the immune system are allergies. Okay. Now you all must have heard, studied, or you know, all must be knowing about allergies, right? So what are allergies? Tell me. Let's begin with this.
Exaggerated immune responses by the body to like
What do
certain factors.
what do we mean by exaggerated immune response, Atif?
For example, in like something like dust allergy, like when you like to come into close contact with dust, like you like get on itchy and all. So yeah, like for like minor stuff like this, your body reacts like
Reacts like?
reacts in like overreacts, you can say.
Yes, right. So dust is not going to do any much of harm to our body, right? But because it's a foreign particle, and if it goes inside our body, normally our body should just not care about it, right? It's a dust. It's not going to multiply and take over our organ and cause infection or something, correct?
Yes,
But
sir.
instead, if our body starts showing hyper exaggerated response against this kind of foreign particle entering, it can be pollen grains. People also have pollen allergies, right? People have dust allergies. Sometimes it's temperature sensitive allergies, or some people have allergies from birds, like bird feathers or pet hairs, right? So normally pet hairs do not cause anything. Like if you are around pets are playing with you, normally you should not worry about it. But in some cases, whenever a pet comes near, so the pet dander or the pet odor or the pet hair, that starts allergic response in some people, right? So as Atif correctly said, allergy are the exaggerated response of the immune system to certain antigens present in the environment. Okay, and these antigens which are present in the environment and which cause allergy are called allergens. So people who have allergy, they can have different allergens, and the way doctors will say or prescribe to you is that avoid exposure or avoid coming in contact with your allergens. Sometimes people have allergy towards specific food item or a specific spice or a specific flavor or something, right? People have allergies towards alcohol. Their bodies cannot tolerate alcohol, and the moment they drink even a sip of it, their body will start showing allergic response. Okay, everyone? Some people are allergic to like milk products. Some people are also allergic to honey or things like that. Okay, so we understood what is allergy, right? Now, what happens in allergy? How does our body show this exaggerated response? What do we mean by exaggerated response? So whenever these allergens enter the body, our body starts secreting the antibody IgE. Remember, I told you that these are the antibodies which are responsible for allergy.
Yes, sir.
So IgE type of antibody is secreted in large quantity. Okay, and then these antibody reach the site of allergen entry, or also in the, if it's systemic, they reach the blood and cause these allergic reaction symptoms. So first let's talk about common allergens. What are the common allergens? It could be dust, mites, bird feathers, some specific food items. It could be alcohol, or what else it could be?
Pollen.
Yeah, pollen and animal hair, right? All these things could be allergens. Okay, now what are the symptoms?
Sneezing.
Yeah, the most common one is sneezing. You're correct, perfect. So allergic response symptoms are sneezing is the most common, right? Okay, and wheezing, cough, running nose, in some cases you can see watery eyes, which becomes reddish eyes, skin rashes also develop depending on what kind of allergy it is. Skin rashes, those who are allergic to certain plants or certain kind of chemicals, skin rashes. And
Even animal fur, right?
sorry,
Rashes come even when like they start touching an animal fur.
yes, even like if the skin is can show allergic response coming in contact with certain animals, yes, or if an animal licks them, etc. Skin rashes and difficulty in breathing also is seen. So all these are allergic response symptoms. Okay. Now, how do you determine, how do you find the your allergen? So it's simple. If you think that you are allergic to something in food, but you don't know which component, so you're eating, whenever you are eating a vegetable or you're eating a particular dish, you get an allergy. But it's possible that every component in the dish is not problematic. So to figure out which specific component is problematic, how will you do that? Yes, Hannah, what do you want me to scroll to this part?
Yes, sir, this part.
Yeah. So tell me, if there are 10 components of a food dish, let's say anything, let's say biryani, and whenever you eat it, you get allergic response. So you want to avoid that from happening, and you want to figure out what is your allergen particularly. What will you do? What will you do? It's simple.
But we'll probably avoid that food, sir.
So you will avoid the whole dish.
Yeah.
But that dish has some components that can also be present in the other dish. Let's say biryani has rice. Now you don't know if you are allergic to rice. So will you leave rice for the rest of your life?
Oh,
You don't know what component you are allergic to in biryani. So how will you figure it out so that you can avoid that even in biryani and can have biryani without a problem?
We can do tests.
What kind of test? Yes, perfect.
Blood
But
test.
what test? Blood test. How will blood test help? Blood test will only tell you that you have lots of antibody IgE in your blood. Blood test will tell you that there is an allergic response in your body. How is it going to help? What do you think?
Sir, remove each of the components one by one and then try the biryani, like to check if you have the allergic response or not.
Yeah, instead of checking the biryani, you can taste the component one by one separately. That's called, so very small doses of possible allergen is given to the person. Now, if you already can tell that when I eat pulao or when I eat plain jeera rice, I don't get allergy, but whenever I eat biryani, I get allergy. So it clearly rules out that rice may not be the problem, right? Because there was rice in other components as well, and you were fine. So apart from rice, there is something that you are adding. It can be a spice, it can be something of a flavor, or some colors that are added to biryani, right? Sometimes colors are added to biryani to give the rice a particular color. So you will test those things in very small doses in front of a physician. Now it's done by doctors to figure out if you show the symptoms. Now symptoms will also be mild because your allergen is very low concentration, and that's how you can pinpoint the allergen. Make sense, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now once you have pinpointed the allergen, what can you do? Is there any treatment for allergy? How can you, so when allergy happens, what are you going to do? Keep sneezing till either the allergy is gone or you are gone? No, we take something, right?
I
Anyone
think
here is allergic to
shot.
something?
Is it like allergy shot or medicine? Allergic medicine.
Allergic medicine. Yes, we take medicines, but what is, so what happens in
Sir,
allergy? Let's first discuss.
EpiPens are
Sorry, come again.
EpiPens are used.
Yes, that's one. So let me tell you about the mechanism that will help you understand what to do. So the mechanism is allergy, so allergen enters the body, as a response of which there are mast cells in your body. So these mast cells secrete histamine and serotonin. These are two chemicals. Now they stimulate the immune system. Okay, and causes hyperactive response. You understand? So, and this is allergy, right? Make sense? So allergen enters the mast cells in your body, start secreting histamine and serotonin. Okay, and these histamine and serotonin makes the immune system cause or give a hyperactive response, which is known as allergy. So if you have to get rid of an allergy, what will you do? Simple, you will give drugs which can target hair, right? So we give antihistamine drugs. Now it says antihistamine, so antihistamine drugs acts on histamine and controls the allergy. Okay, so to reduce the symptoms of allergies, write down drugs like antihistamine, adrenaline, and in severe cases steroids are given. And in severe cases steroids are given to quickly reduce the symptoms of allergy. Quickly reduce the symptoms of allergy. Okay, now why do you think allergy develops in a person? What is the reason? So allergy is basically hypersensitivity, right? Hyper exaggeration. So you should not be that sensitive to dust. Dust is all around us, right? In fact, if you talk to your parents and grandparents, they will tell you of the times when they were not living in concrete cities like we live in, well developed roads, everything is concrete. They used to live in villages or in areas where dust or soil was a normal thing, right? We were exposed to dust and soil everywhere. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So what happens over time is our lifestyle makes us so protected. So as the generation after generation, we are becoming more and more protected from certain things. Like we do not get exposure of these things early in life. So we become very, very sensitive. Even very less amount of exposure will start causing hyper exaggeration of our immune response, of our immune system. So it happens. Write down the modern day lifestyle lowers our immunity to certain antigens, which become allergens. You will see allergies being very common in cities than in the rural areas.
Immunity,
Sorry?
which lowers our immunity.
Yes, which lowers the immunity towards allergens, towards antigens, which become allergens. So basically, you will see that the cases of allergy is more prevalent in cities than in rural areas. Okay, because in cities we are not exposed to many things. We live in our very clean, neat and clean air conditioned rooms with no dust, no foreign particles, no pollen grains, no insects, no soil, okay, no random animals around us. Whereas in rural areas, you will see humans living in very close contact with soil, plants, animals, etc. So they are right from the birth, they are exposed to all these things, and the immune system knows how much value it has to give, or how much prevention or cautious it has to be from different antigens. For example, dust is not going to do much of a harm unless and until it goes into your system in very large quantity. Kids used to play in dust all day earlier. Like I have played in dust all day and night, so I'm exposed right from the beginning to dust. Same are like other people who will never have a dust allergy. But if you are never exposed to dust for like early age, 10, 12, 15 years, then after that, if you get these dusts in your room, or somehow someone starts beating the mattress in front of you, those dust fine particles will go in your nose, and your body will all of a sudden become mad. What happened? What came inside my body? It will get hyper exaggerated. Otherwise, in normal people's systems, it will be like, oh, it's just the dust. Don't worry. You understand, everyone? So does it make sense? Say yes or no. Something,
Yes, sir.
questions? Yeah. So allergy could also be developed because of the extremely protected environment which is provided to kids very early in life. Okay, so we should, in the wake of giving safe environment to our kids, we should also not be very overprotective, so that they lose a lot of development, mental, physical, physiological, and immunogenic all. So it's important to let them go out, let them play with animals, with other kids, with the pets, etc. Okay, of course, take care. Taking care is another thing. But you understood, right, what I'm trying to put out here? Exposure is important. We are all coming from wild, we are wild animals. The last chapter, evolution, was all about that. And by the way, how many of you follow the Nobel Prize? Today, the Nobel Prize for Medicine and Physiology, like the biological Nobel Prize, was awarded. Anyone knows for what that Nobel Prize was given today? And to whom it was given? Any idea? No? I also shared something on the group. All of you are on the group? No?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So did you see? I've shared something on the group.
Where I am in the group, I don't have my phone right now. So
Okay, not a problem. But anyways, others, no one saw. So it was given to Vante Pabo, and he is a evolutionary anthropologist, means he worked on human evolution. So basically it was for his discoveries about the genomes, our genome of Homo sapiens that are currently living, the species of Homo which is currently surviving, and other Homo extinct species like Homo neanderthal and other humans, hominin species. So their genome and the connection between our genome and their genome. So he discovered that over a course of his lifetime, a very long research which he probably did all his life. For this, he was awarded the Nobel Prize today in medicine and physiology. Because of him, we know so much about our genomes. We understand the genetic disorders. We understand how we evolved from other animals and also from other human-like species, other Homo species, as Homo sapiens. Okay, so it was I think it's a beautiful Nobel to give. Okay, so anything you want to ask about allergy, or is it clear? Shall I move forward?
Sir, can you explain the mechanism again?
The mechanism, yes. The mechanism is allergen enters the body. Then the mast cells, which are already present in your body, they start secreting histamine and serotonin in large quantities. They should not have done it if that allergen is just dust or pollen, or they have just secreted. Even if they will secrete very little amount and our body will take care of it. But these large amount of histamine and serotonin will make the immune system go haywire and show a hyperactive response, which basically is allergy. So what happens when normally dust goes in any person's nose? Suppose I'm just standing somewhere and suddenly some dust came and went into my nose. What will I do? What will my body do?
Sneeze.
Yeah, just sneeze once, twice and get rid of the dust, right? What will an allergic person's body do?
Continuous sneezing.
Keep sneezing, keep sneezing till your eyes are watery and you are just showing hyper exaggerated response, so that's the problem. Same with the pollen. If there's a pollen which goes into my lungs and in my body, there'll be sneezing, coughing, and after that body will the macrophages will come and eat up all the pollen and clean it. But in allergic person's body, the person will start choking, start having difficulty in the breathing, will sneeze, cough, the body will go red. All these sorts of things will happen. Do you understand the mechanism, everyone? Allergy is clear to all of you.
Yes,
What
sir.
is it? So now if anyone asks you anything on allergy, you will be able to answer, right? Which antibody is responsible, which cells are responsible, what chemicals are secreted, everything, right? What are the symptoms, what are the treatments? Okay, very well. So the next thing which I'll talk about, again, we are taking things which are related to different aspects of immunity. There's something called autoimmunity, autoimmune disorders, or autoimmunity. Anyone has heard of this term, autoimmune disorders or autoimmunity? I'm sure you must have heard of the word auto. All three words you have heard in different separately: auto, immune, and disorders. So let's go term by term. What does the word auto means? Auto, automatic, auto rickshaw, autograph. You don't know the meaning of auto? How is it possible? Sorry, Fatima?
Self, like self.
Self, yes, self. So auto means self. Okay. Automatic is a machine that works on its own. It's self-functional. You don't need to manually give it commands. Auto rickshaw is that rickshaw which works through an engine. You don't have to pedal it. It works on its own, self-reliant. An autograph is your self-graph, your self-identity. So autoimmune disorder means, autoimmunity means, what is immunity? You understood auto, so tell me, what is immunity? Quickly, you can just give the answer in 5 seconds and we can move forward. You have studied immunity. You should know what is immunity. And I know you know, just answer. Don't hesitate. Fatima, what is immunity? Come on, someone has to speak, otherwise we can just sit like this.
The ability for the host to fight the disease-causing organism.
Yes, the
It's called
pathogen. The ability of the host to kill the pathogen is called immunity. Now, what is autoimmunity? Now you know the meaning of the word auto and you know the meaning of the word immunity.
the
Yes, Fatima.
cells fighting, like they're fighting on their own.
Anyways, they are fighting on their own. You don't go and tell them to fight, right? You don't even know that there is a fight. But autoimmunity means they are fighting against the self cells, our own cells. So our cells of the body will kill our own cells of the body, not the pathogen. That's called autoimmunity. Is it clear? Everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So write down. Normally, our immune system, if it does not have an autoimmunity disorder, our immune system can very well differentiate between self cells and non-self cells, which means the cells of our own body and the cells which are not of our own body and come from outside, whether it's a bacteria, a virus, a tissue transplant, etc. But in case of autoimmune disorders, the body, the immune system, lose this ability to distinguish self from non-self. Okay, which leads to autoimmune diseases. So write down. The immune system of higher vertebrates, the immune system of higher vertebrates has the ability to differentiate, between foreign pathogens and self cells. Foreign pathogens and self cells. Okay. Sometimes, next point, sometimes due to genetic aberrations, due to genetic perturbations, aberrations, whatever you want to write, due to genetic perturbations or genetic defects and other unexplored reasons or unknown reasons. We don't know all the reasons till yet why autoimmunity happens. So one reason we know is it happens through genetic aberrations, defects. Sometimes due to genetic defects or unknown reasons, the immune system starts attacking its own body cells, and this is known as autoimmune disease. And this is known as autoimmune disease or autoimmune disorder. Is it clear, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yep. Okay. Now, one example, write down, is rheumatoid. So you just have to know rheumatoid arthritis is, what do we mean by itis? Itis, inflammation, hepatitis, arthritis, conjunctivitis, renalitis, any itis, okay, is inflammation. The word arthro means arthropoda. What does the word arthro means? Class 11th, chapter 4, animal kingdom. What does the word arthro means? See, people, you have to brush up your concepts. Okay. Arthro means joints. Okay. So arthritis means inflammation of the joints in humans. And rheumatoid arthritis means the arthritis which is because of autoimmunity. So it's an autoimmune disease where the immune cells of our own body starts killing the cells present at the joints, and it leads to pain, difficulty in movement, and damage of the bones or the tissues around the joints in old people. So mostly rheumatoid arthritis happens after middle age to onset of old age, senescence, and it affects many people around us. Is it clear, everyone? Do you have any doubt? Is the immunity part clear? All different types of immunity, passive, active, B lymphocyte, T lymphocyte, cell-mediated immunity, humoral immunity, autoimmune disorders, allergies, everything is clear?
Yes, sir.
No doubts. So now let me summarize for you the immune system. Just so human immune system. So human immune system consists of lymphoid organs. We are talking about the adaptive part here. Lymphoid organs. Now, why are these organs called lymphoid organs? Because they produce lymphocytes. Now, these lymphoid organs are of two types. Primary lymphoid organs in the body, which are two: bone marrow and thymus. You have heard the name before, right? Can you tell me where have you heard these names before? Bone marrow and thymus. Quick. See, if you'll not revise on a daily basis, you will take time. You're losing time, right? I could have told you one more thing in the class, but this is how the class is going to be. The pace will be decided by you people, not by me. Towards the end, if the syllabus is left, then I have other ways to just speed up the classes. But if you do not discuss, you will not be able to make concepts. Where have you heard the word bone marrow and thymus before in the class? People, if you cannot speak, you have to write in the chat. Go back. Yes.
Production of RBCs.
No, go back to your notes. Go back. Flip the pages. Go back quickly.
Sir, you're not audible.
I'm not able to hear you, Atif. You are mute if you're speaking.
Sir, you were not audible. Now I can hear you.
Am I not audible to all?
No, sir, you were not audible. Now we can hear you.
Okay. Was I not audible to others as well?
So you are, sir.
I am. Okay, Atif. So I'll repeat the question. The question is, where have you heard the word bone marrow and thymus in immunity before? Let me keep my camera off, probably due to the network issues it's happening. Now can you hear me clearly, Atif?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Very well. So tell me, since now you can hear me, you can answer the question. Bone marrow
Bone marrow
and thymus.
synthesizes the um,
Bone marrow synthesizes what?
WBC, sir.
And what does thymus synthesizes? It's in your notebook. If you just flip 1 or 2 pages where I taught you antibodies in the last class, I told you. Why is B lymphocytes called B lymphocytes? Because they are synthesized from the bone marrow. Why is T lymphocytes called T lymphocytes? Because they are synthesized from thymus. So the word B, the alphabet B and T comes from bone marrow and thymus. Do you not know this, people? Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
See, you have to answer, okay? If anyone cannot speak in my class, must not come to the classes. I'm not going to make that rule, but at some point of time, if you push me towards it, I may. Okay. So no one is vocal in the class. And then when you expect, or when it is expected from me to evaluate you or understand what is your learning capabilities, I don't know, because everyone is mute. I can't see you, I can't hear you, I don't know who that person is, whether it's understanding something or not. So please, it's just 1 or 2 people who are constantly speaking, others. So there's no issue which is unfixable. Okay. Please fix your issues, whatever it is. If it is possible, to whichever extent it is possible, keep nudging your parents that you're not able to participate in the class because of these issues. At the end of the day, they are investing capital. They're investing money in your education. So your education better be right. Just join the classes for the sake of just don't join the classes for the sake of joining the classes. Participate in the classes. That is going to help you. You will not be able to remember anything if you are just noting down. No teacher can do the magic of just making you remember everything. You have to do the magic. I am there. Discuss with me. I'm not a teacher because I can dictate very well. I am a teacher because I know biology better than you know at the moment. So that's why I can give you that knowledge. One day you will know as much as I do. You know, when you'll come to my age, you will know as much as I do, or even more than me. So you will be teaching someone, for that matter. That's all a teacher can do. And I'm available to discuss. You are not. So please think about it, okay, people? So there are 2 primary lymphoid organs which secrete lymphocytes, bone marrow and thymus. And there are many secondary lymphoid organs in our body, which again do the same thing. Secretion. Okay, Atif, good to know you are back. So the secondary lymphoid organs, again, they are like about the secretion and storing of these lymphocytes. So they contain, these are your spleen. Have you heard of spleen? Where is spleen? our lymph nodes, then tonsils, they're all secondary lymphoid organs, and appendix, which is thought to be rudimentary or a vestigial organ, actually was functional at one point of time and still have some functions. They're not vital, so if you get rid of it, you can still survive, but they are reservoirs. And small intestine, so not all the small intestine, but in small intestine there are some patches, some areas known as Peyer's patches. So all these are secondary lymphoid organs, and these two are primary lymphoid organs in our body, okay, which secretes the B and the T lymphocytes. Is it clear, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yep. Now, apart from that, so both these primary and secondary combined, I'm writing it here, both these make up around only 50%, half of our lymphoid tissues are located in all these organs, primary and secondary lymphoid organs. Now we call them organs because they have a fixed shape and they are present as organs, right? Apart from all these organs, there are tissues randomly scattered and located in our body. Okay, they're not also very random, but they are called MALT. The full form is mucosa associated. Now, what is mucosa? Anyone knows what is mucosa?
So mucus.
No, it is the lining. That you are right. The hint is mucus comes from the mucosal lining. It is the innermost lining which lines every organ and tract in our body. Okay. You understand, everyone? Mucosal lining.
Yes.
So the innermost lining secretes mucus, so it's called mucus. So this mucosa has many lymphoid tissues associated with it. And where is mucosa present? I was saying that it is the lining of the tracts. Can you name some tracts in our body, in the human body? Some tracts are basically tunnels and passages. Can you name some tracts? One is respiratory tract, I can say. Is it a passage, a tunnel where there's a lining, inner lining? Yeah. Other tracts, can you name some other tracts?
Digestive tract.
Perfect. Digestive tract. What is the other name of digestive tract?
Uh, it starts with G.
Yes, it's called GIT, gastrointestinal tract.
Oh, yeah. Gastric.
Yeah. Yes. So, and other?
Nasal tract.
Yes, that comes under respiratory, no? Nasal.
Oh.
No? Yeah,
Yeah,
right?
it does.
Yes. So this MALT, mucosa associated lymphoid tissue, is present, write down. It's located within the lining of major tracts. Located within the lining of major tracts. And what are the major tracts? Respiratory tract, gastrointestinal tract, which is also known as the digestive tract in common language, and You know, the excretory tract is also there. It's called urogenital tract. Urogenital is the combination of excretory and reproductive tract. Right? They are closely associated. Yes or no? So
Yes,
all
sir.
these tracts, their inner lining, which is the mucosal lining, has these mucosa associated lymphoid tissues present. And this malt consists of, write down, it constitutes around 50% of the total lymphoid tissue in the human body. But because it is not located in any one given organ, we do not treat it as organ. It is scattered through many tracts. But 50% of the total lymphoid tissue in the human comes from malt. The rest 50% comes from the primary and secondary lymphoid tissues. Okay. Make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
So if they ask you which is the major contributor of lymphoid tissues from the given options, bone marrow, option B thymus, option C lymph nodes, and option D malt. So you know that bone marrow and thymus are primary lymphoid organs, so everyone goes for that. But what is the right answer?
Malt.
Yes, it's malt.
Sir, can you repeat the option?
The question or the option?
Options.
So the options is bone marrow, thymus, lymph nodes, and malt, which is a major contributor of lymphoid tissues in the body. If in the option malt is there, you know that it is 50% of the total lymphoid tissue together, right? Their malt is present in different tracts. Together it's called malt, mucosa associated lymphoid tissue. So that will be the answer. Is it clear, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so with this, I have finished the immune system, like the part that you need to study to understand. And in the next class, we will be doing some diseases, mostly two diseases I will do in detail, AIDS and cancer. Okay, so in the next class, we'll be doing AIDS and cancer. Please read about these diseases a little bit, and they are also associated with immune system. And we'll study how they are associated with the immune system and their detailed mechanism.